Hey everybody, it's Adam here, and I wanted to give a quick rundown of today's episode before it begins. You know, we haven't done a big interview really since April of last year, so it's been a year. So anyone that's joined us since then for big interviews and big guests, we do hold the beer review for the end of the episode. So after the intro opens up, we will have our guest on. Today's guest is Joel McHale. We're so thankful that he was able to provide time to be on the show. And I'm going to be honest that there were some bits and questions and segments that we had planned that do come off awkward in the end due to our poor time management of previous questions and whatnot, and trying to really stick with that list and just trying to get back in the groove of things. But overall, I mean, this is going to be a fun episode for you guys to listen to. This was fun for us. I mean, it was great. It was amazing. So please enjoy this episode right about now.
You're listening to Opinions in Beer.
Wow. Put a lot of oxygen into the fermenting yeast. They go aerobic and they start multiplying.
Great American Ale Off.
Cause of death. Dun dun dun.
It tastes worse than Bud Light.
Straight up 10.
All right.
All right.
Beer and opinions and beer. A podcast with two guys and another guy.
Heck yeah. It's all dudes here. What is that weird? No, okay.
All dudes here on Opinions and Beer.
Yeah. We have the same mic of a different color.
Yeah, you got the Yeti?
Hey, I have
That
a
thing is
blue.
amazing.
Yeah, it's actually really good. Especially once you fine tweak it, comes through great. I mean, I use it all the time. So.
How did you tweak yours?
So I use a program called OBS, Open Broadcasting Source, and you can
Okay.
put like a couple of filters on there.
Oh.
Probably the best one to put on there is Noise Gate, because that cancels out like fans and stuff in the background if you have like kids and stuff. That's called OBS. It's
OBS.
So-
That should be easy to find.
yeah, you'll find it. Trust me. It's a free program too. So
Okay. Hi, guys.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm well. Excuse my dog freaking out downstairs. He wants to be let out, and I'm not going to let him out. Well, that's up to my 12-year-old, but I'm focusing on you guys and your wonderful outfits.
Oh,
Hey,
thank
thanks,
you.
man.
This is from Korea.
Oh, at no point did I ask, but that's great. That's great. Are you drinking beer right now?
I am. We have Imperial King Cake Stout, but
Look at you.
For you, because you're on the show, we did buy Carole Did It. It's a it's a raspberry mango wheat by Buxton Brewing Company.
They got that out fast.
Really fast guy. So
Mango wheat?
yeah.
Yeah,
Sounds like
raspberry mango.
Raspberry wheat. That sounds like a bowl of granola.
Yeah.
Sounds wonderful.
I would honestly say that Tiger King stuff exploded pretty fast down here, just because we're already kind of like a smaller community. So once quarantine and lockdown started, like, yeah, everybody was like, "Hey, isn't that the guy from down the road?"
Right. Wait, where are you guys located?
We're in Southeast Texas.
Oh, yeah. So that's
Yeah,
oh well, southeast. But how long of a drive is it to Oklahoma?
probably like 3 hours, maybe.
Oklahoma. Oh
6
yeah, I
hours?
guess so. Maybe 3.
I mean, it
it's like
depends.
4 or 5 hours.
We've
Yeah,
done
I
the
can't
drive
imagine the explosion of people. I mean, it's a weird. If there was no pandemic, that zoo would be the busiest zoo in America.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Easily.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff Lowe would be printing affliction T-shirts out for himself because I think he uses them as currency.
Man, I've got to say, like, your interview with them was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I watched a bunch of interviews with them prior to that, and like, really, like, just you interacting with them was just so good. It's like you had something to say for pretty much everything they brought up, and
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Well, my goal was I interviewed each of them for an hour. And
Oh,
they
shit, okay.
they boiled it down to 7 minutes. But my goal was to make them human beings, because everyone is referring to them as characters. And I was
Yeah.
like, these are people. This is not a play, and it's not a drama, and it's not really even like the Real Housewives, because those shows are all scripted and they're all they go into them like it's an improv show. I mean, they're all kind of heightened versions of themselves, but these were just people being filmed, and Joe Exotic is obviously that over the top. But people kept referring to. I was like, no, Saf really had his arm ripped off, and so there was. I really wanted to boil it. I wanted to get good, like real reactions from them, and find out who they were, and So
And make
anyway,
fun of their shirts.
Some people still don't get it. I had a conversation the other day where they assume that was just based off a true story. I'm like, no, those are the people.
Yeah.
That's the real people.
I mean, like,
yeah, it's really. I mean, when they say like, who would you like to cast who would be cast you in a movie, and I kept thinking like, yeah, there's probably going to be a movie, but it's going to be very difficult to capture the mayhem and the reality of what it was, and because obviously it's the most famous documentary series in history now, but it's going to be hard to kind of rise to the level that the actual people got to.
Yeah, it's so relatable, I'd say, because like seriously, like around here, I mean, that's how people genuinely are. Like they come out across that, and it seems it goes to show how kind of disconnected the country is from each other. Because, like you said, like a lot of people see them and they're like, oh, these are they're like stereotypical characters.
They're characters, right?
Well, I mean, that's just the way of life down here.
Right. But would you say that obviously Joe Exotic is a unique personality?
I mean, but that's like, he's got to be trying to do like a role or something, right? Like,
well, the man obviously is a showman and an extreme extrovert.
He did magic and shit.
Yeah, I know he's a performer. So yes, there's when that as that one producer said that every time the camera would turn on, he would fire someone to just create more drama. So in his case, he probably obviously is a heightened. But when he showed up at Travis's funeral dressed as a priest and then talked about his balls and then sang a song, I don't, that there's a disconnect there that's not, how typical human beings behave.
Yeah, no, there's an intense amount of narcissism there.
Yeah, and it's funny. And people were so angry with me asking all the people that I interviewed. They were angry with me asking the question, do you think he should be in jail? And
no, that's a good question.
Yeah, it's like, it doesn't seem A, like a hard-hitting question. And B, I think that's not unfair to ask. And then they were like, you're making fun of them. And I was like, I did make fun of Jeff's Affliction t-shirt. Yeah, collection. There's no doubt that I made fun of it.
What was the answer from most people whenever
was
you asked
unanimous.
That fucking, he needs to be locked up. And it's crazy how you see, there's like a bunch of like petitions and stuff going on right now saying like, oh, he should be out. But
right. Well, even Saf, even Saf, who said he loved working there and had a good relationship with Joe. And I asked all that. I was like, and do you think he should be in jail? And Saf was like, absolutely. So even the people that got along with it was like, oh yeah, he was committing crimes. So if this is, this is going to be, I mean, as I've told other people, Joe Exotic is the happiest person in jail ever.
Oh, for sure.
Nobody has been happier. He's probably, he can't, the only thing that's bothering him is that he's not free, but that is very little on the list because I think he's probably experiencing extreme joy at his fame.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, we love talking about Joe Exotic, but, we rarely get to talk to Joel McHale, so.
It's so rare that it's never happened.
One might say.
And will never happen again.
Okay.
Ever. We have never spoken.
Never spoken. Yeah.
We were in that band together. That was so fun, but those were the days.
You played piano for a little bit, right?
I played piano. I played harpsichord.
No, I thought he played accordion.
I played guitar. I played accordion. I played them all.
I
played that little weird accordion, that little tiny one, not the big one you carry. That So how do you guys know each other? You guys go to the
We
same-
are relatives.
Yeah.
That's
If you
really-
can tell by the
you can tell by the facial hair.
Facial hair. We both have the same
Absolutely.
same color. Well, close to the same. No, actually, no. We have different color. You can't tell us apart.
No, you're I thought I was talking to twins.
That's how it works.
Twins with a weird coffin-shaped shelving system
Coffin?
behind you.
Oh, that's where we just put our shrines.
You put your shrine. You have a place for multiple shrines, or
Multiple
it's a shrine.
shrines of
Are you saying that you don't have a shrine room?
No,
when
I
you're
just,
walking.
I don't. I have a shrine, but I don't have a place to put all my shrines.
Okay.
Say you're walking in the forest, right? And you come across
Mm-hmm.
some frog legs, and you're like, man, that would make a nice shrine. And that's where it goes.
Well, I wouldn't. I think frog legs would be good to add to a shrine, but to create a shrine out of just frog legs.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's an example of one of the shrine pieces.
Yeah, you got to build it up like the hay armor.
I thought you were saying the frog legs were the shrine as opposed to just being part of a shrine.
No, no, that'd be weird.
This is good podcast. This is interesting.
Hey man, thanks. I appreciate it. Even
So
more
what time
nice.
is it there in East Texas? You guys are on Central
It is
Time?
12:47.
And you got your workouts in before you started drinking?
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw you guys on that Peloton. I saw you that.
It's like, no,
You
he
guys
was
are
literally
cycling
doing.
away.
He was like, "Oh, I got to get the nerves out." So he dropped and he did push-ups just to
See?
get the nerves out.
That's what I want. I want to buy a super expensive bike and have someone yell at me to ride it. That's what I want.
But
So getting back to beer, or
yeah, we're a
Wait,
Uganda.
what do you guys want to talk? What?
We're a
Go ahead.
Uganda-nominated podcast.
You're kidding.
No.
Congrats.
Yeah, man. I'll
I don't even know what that is, but that's great.
It's cool. It
You're
is what it
huge in
is.
Uganda, is what you're saying?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're huge.
Congrats.
Pretty
In
big.
In Uganda.
Pretty
thanks.
big in Uganda. We have a cult following there.
What's the drunkest you've gotten on during a podcast?
Oh man, do we want to tell this story to John?
Which
McHale?
one?
Oh, have you already told this story?
No.
No. Well, I mean, it was kind of live.
There's
because
probably two times.
We've done a few interviews where we got a little too drunk. Only one turned out really bad because we got too drunk, and that was with what's his name?
What? Oh, the skateboarder,
Yeah, skateboarder.
Jason Ellis.
Jason Ellis.
Jason Ellis.
Did
We had a
Jason
buddy
get
that-
his lit?
Huh?
Was Jason drunk?
No. We had a buddy, and we will never invite a guest buddy ever again.
Oh, yeah. So he's an enabler. He was like, it's party time.
Well, yeah. I think his friend just died from like a heroin overdose, and he was
Oh,
just like
jeez.
depressed.
He kept
Here we
asking
go.
Jason Ellis if he could jump off of his roof.
Yeah.
I don't know why that
He
was,
was
a turn on.
Really?
Jason Ellis, but
And he was just like, "Hey, Jason, if you keep working at it, you'll be a good skateboarder." He just didn't know. He just didn't know who Jason Ellis was.
He
was
wasn't just, he wasn't just taunting him.
No, he's just really
No,
stupid.
no,
Well, who did your friend
Yeah.
think you had on? You just had some guy who kind of learned how to know how to skateboard, not an expert.
Well, he thought he was like,
Professional.
"Who is that? That's just Tony Hawk's friend. We don't know who that is. That's just Tony Hawk's friend."
And then you should have said, yeah, we got Tony Hawk's friend.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's show some respect.
Show some respect.
I shot a little thing with Tony Hawk for a while back, and he's the nicest man, and his wife is incredibly nice.
Yeah.
And we were in this little park, and he decided to skate from the set back to the trailer. And as you know, if you're a very skilled skateboarder, you can do that. But he decided that he would just put 2 feet on the front of the board and ride all the way
Oh,
back
shit.
just on 2 wheels. And I'll never forget, as he's just zipping down this thing, going pretty fast, one of the PAs goes, hey, be careful. And I was
Is it
like,
Tony Hawk?
Tony Hawk, you're yelling at.
Yeah, I think he's got this one.
Yeah, you just
Off
told a
the
50-year-old
900.
man to stop skateboarding in the park. The guy who's the most famous skateboarder on the planet. But whatever, it's fine.
Yeah,
That's pretty funny.
Made me
That's
very
actually
happy.
really
So
good.
you got so drunk that was Ellis pissed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like the guy got so drunk, I kind of had to like strong arm him away. And while that was going
That's a
on,
podcast.
Yeah, dude. It's
So you manhandled your friend.
Yes, in that interaction, he was like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he was like, "See you guys."
yeah,
He was like-
kind of dumped after that.
Was
Which,
he
like I don't
in
blame
studio
him.
with you?
Huh?
Was he in studio?
No, he wasn't.
No, he's kind of doing a Skype call.
Yeah, it was like Skype.
Okay, so he was just like, "I'm out," and he walked.
Yeah, and then
away.
he talked about it for about 30 minutes the next day and just kind of shat on us. Well, he didn't shat on.
yeah, on air. So,
He didn't shit on us, but his co-host shit on us.
So how about this? You asked
Okay.
us about our worst interview and our worst drunken time. What about yourself? What's your worst drunken time and what's your worst interview?
Well, I'm not really a interviewer,
Okay.
but I have interviewed people. I'm trying to think the worst. Yeah, I don't have like I was never a traditional talk show host where I would have guests. I guess now on Ken and My's podcast,
Yeah,
we have
you
guests, but we know all the guests. I would say okay. So I was on the Match Game with the amazing Alec Baldwin, and this isn't a great drunk story, but they.
Well, it's better than ours already.
Well,
You know?
there was less manhandling and less, I don't know,
Probably more
out of
impressions.
shape feelings. No, I had never been on, and they were like, it's the evening, and they want the celebrities to feel good and loosen up, and they were like, would you like some wine? And I was like, absolutely. They had a very nice wine there. Because they have high quality products, because the celebrities are like, well, that's a good one. And so they're like, here's some wine. I'm like, great. And we start shooting, and then the taping takes more than half an hour because the whole thing has to be assembled later. And I was like, oh, I'll have another glass. And then I realized I was there for 2 episodes. And by the end of the first, I was already on a mission to Planet Buzzed. And and then and I was like, well, might as well keep going. And so by the end of the evening, it was dramatic how I was feeling. And I had to go to a dinner after that. And I went to this dinner and I was like, I'm just going to let you know, I've already had a couple of, I don't know how much, tankers full of wine.
Yeah.
And I felt, so at the end of the dinner, it was way out in New York. It was 8 miles away from my hotel. I was deep into Brooklyn, and I felt so sort of like, I got to clear my head. I walked 8 miles back to my hotel.
Oh, man.
Because I was like, I got to wait. I had to wake up really early, and to catch a plane, I was just like, I do not want to be ill on a plane. So I walked, and that's my whole story. It ended with a impromptu drunk exercise. Thank you.
Ah, thanks
Not
for
a
sharing.
great story. You can edit that down and get it.
Okay.
All
So one of the biggest reasons why I searched you out and wanted you on the podcast because a picture of you started trending in the craft beer community, and it was a picture featuring a Pliny the Elder behind you. Pliny the Elder is, obviously the best IPA in the world.
Double IPA, my friend.
Double
It's a
IPA.
double IPA.
Yes, let me correct. Technically, I know, right? Technically, it's the second best because they're triple IPA. Pliny the Younger, I think, beat it out by a couple of rankings or whatnot.
Yeah, but go ahead. Saying it's better. The problem with Pliny the Younger is like having a Wagyu steak, like a Japanese, where it's so rich you can't eat. Like people can eat a New York steak because it's the kind of best combination of fat and meat and texture, but like the Wagyu steak is so rich, and you kind of like blows you. That the Younger is that I don't know if you've had it, but they serve it in small cups because it's so big and it's so tasty. But it's like 11% alcohol.
Yeah,
So you're drinking glasses of wine basically.
it's illegal to mail beer to Texas, and so we don't get a lot of the good stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd be amazed at the
And
weird
so-
laws.
You can, whoa! You can't mail beer, or you can't ship in beer.
I think it's both. I think it's illegal to ship beer to Texas. You can ship it out of Texas, but you still can't ship it into. And they just passed where you can ship it within the state. Because you
Wow!
couldn't even.
Congrats, guys. Welcome. Welcome to the 21st century.
It sucks, man. That's the one.
Is it because beer makers are like they don't want that to happen because that would?
There's no telling if they just want us to
No,
drink
actually,
local or some
because
shit.
the biggest, Stan Arnold's like the biggest craft brewer in Texas. He's actually pushing for a lot of these laws, and he actually helped. He actually helped get this current one passed. So that's one.
The same thing happened with Dogfish Head in Maryland, where there was all these antiquated laws on the books from like the 1700s.
Yeah.
And he knocked all those down, basically. I think only Pennsylvania they also have some really strange old liquor laws. But the Dogfish Head guy, he got rid of them, basically, and became the hero of beer for the East Coast. But I like hearing that, Texas constantly talks about, they're like, we're independent, we're our own country,
we have a lot of independent beer companies.
Well, yeah, but you hear all this stuff about how, like, oh, we're rebels, and it's like, we can't have beer mailed to us.
Yeah, well, the problem is we've got a lot of, like, super staunch old conservatives in power, and that's all.
But you go, like, all right, so you got these.
They want us to go to church every single day, etc.
So they think that are you saying that by not mailing beer, they're somehow winning the temperance movement argument? Because all you would do is just go buy regular Texas beer. It just seems like a loophole that would be very
exactly. I feel like it might be in place to force us to buy locally or something like that. But,
on the flip side, though, being friends with I don't know if you remember John from Texas Big Beer, who had a brewery over in Buna.
Yeah. Oh, I remember John.
No, in general, of course. Texas Big Beer in Buna. He was just making a statement that, like, a lot of these laws are kind of paid and bought by
big
Budweiser
and
by Budweiser and stuff to stop the sale and distribution of more craft beer coming into the state.
Oh yeah, they're terrified. I would agree with that. That's probably the best reason. They're terrified because their bottom line has been eaten into by all this independent beer. And God, this is why America is so great already, because we can make our own alcohol. And we are in beer heaven. We're in beer. We never dreamt of a time that beer would be this good, because our dads growing up had like 3 choices. And once in a while, they would be like, I bought a Chimay. And, like, I don't even know what this is. It says Chimay. But but now we live in beer. I mean, we've never had better beer, and we've never had a better selection. When they look back on however this country ends, which will never end, but when they look back on this age, they're going to be like, you would not believe what these people drank. It was just the most wonderful time.
Yeah, we've done episodes based on, because we get some imports from overseas and whatnot.
Yeah,
and
tried some of the traditional, like, German beers.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And the way that they have things set up over there is, you are, as a crafter, you're forced to brew a certain way. So a lot of people aftermarket are adding in, like, syrups, like Sprite, Coke. Like this one German lady I was talking to not long ago was saying that that's exactly what they do, is they have their beer and then they're like, oh yeah, Coke and beer. You've never heard of that? Like, everybody drinks that. It's like, but it's because their normal, like, beers are just so, I don't know,
bland.
Yeah, like they have.
That's a good thing I would love to learn more about that. And I am
it's
not
really
kidding. I mean, it is interesting that American, a craft beer, or was invented in America in the last, I like to think it started with Red Hook up in Seattle, my hometown. And but they really did I remember, in the early 90s starting to drink it and going like, wait a minute, what is this wonderful thing? Or Hale's Ale was the same. They're not as prominent still, but it's great that there's, I think there were rules like that, but or Europe is still, like, someone sent me, like, this is the finest, I forget what it's called, but they had a hard time getting it, and they gave it to me. I can't remember. It always was competing with Pliny, and then I had it, and I was like, oh, it's fine. And so that shows you my bias. But think about walking into I don't know what your grocery stores are there if you're in a dry county or something, but think about like when you walk into a grocery store and you see the beer selection in any grocery store now. Even like what you would think to be the blandest of grocery stores, you still can find great stuff.
For the most part.
For the most part.
For the most part.
So here's a good question for you then. What was like your first like introductionary like craft beer that you tried that kind of like sparked your interest in it?
I think it was Red Hook. That was the first time I started drinking that kind of beer. And then Seattle was, I think they were definitely ahead of the curve as far as beer. We were drinking there was a lot of independent breweries, and they exploded. And I think for a long time, Pike Place, that was the Pike Place Brewery, Pike Place Market Brewery, they had an IPA that I was just like, this is my favorite beer on the planet. That was a while. And that was always in the grocery store. It's still there. The brewery's still there. I think they make great beer. But now, boy, you can't walk 2 feet in Seattle without hitting a brewery.
Oh, yeah.
And like now there's a thing called Cloudburst that I love there. I think some of the finest beer on the planet is Georgetown Brewery. They make Manny's Pale Ale and Lucille IPA, and all their beers are named after characters from Point Break. And they've been around for a while, and they were not bottling it until last year. So it was only growlers. And I would go up and visit my parents or my mother-in-law, and it was this great tradition of going to Georgetown Brewing and just standing in line with your growlers, and then you'd get them and then go sit in a boat. And so there was just I went from the 90s all the way up into I don't know. I started doing the Georgetown thing in 2009 or something. They've been around for a while.
Now, so are you an IPA guy?
Yeah, and I know that now. I love how IPAs are not in fashion anymore. It's become the buttery Chardonnay of the business, which I'm just like, nope, it's just good. And I'm still not convinced on the sours. There's a Russian River Brewing sour that I actually like, which is made in a Chardonnay barrel. But I'm still not. I love the innovation, and I think keeping it going is just keep trying. But right now, that's what I choose.
We tried a beer from the Ingenious Brewing Company over here, and they had probably one of the coolest sours we've ever had. It was like
the blueberry one or the blueberry. Yeah, they conditioned a sour over blueberry cereal, and it was like blue and marshmallow had it was great. Dude, it tasted like drinking milk, like the milk from blueberry.
Yeah, it was actually pretty interesting.
Weird.
Wow. I see that. I love that innovation. I don't know if I would like that, but the innovation is really good.
It really is like kind of a niche thing or whatnot. So.
And then we also had Szechuan sauce. Yeah, it was like this super thick green sour. It was like Rick and Morty sauce.
Was it salty?
It was gross.
Yeah, definitely. It tasted exactly like it sounds.
Wow.
It tasted like Szechuan sauce.
And it was
East Texas raves. It was gross. Okay.
But it was a fun beer. It was a fun beer to have. It was fun.
Yeah, I bring on all the experimentation because there's a brewery in Brooklyn called Three's Brewing Company that it is so good. Every one of their beers I've tried, I was just like, why can't we have this in California? Also, Three Magnets Brewing in Olympia, Washington. They took a bunch of obscure bands. They weren't obscure, but they didn't hit as big as Nirvana and Soundgarden and Pearl Jam. Okay. And they made all these beers for like themed from these bands. And I started collecting that. And so I love the whole world of it.
Yeah.
My wife loves it. Just beer bottles everywhere.
Just everywhere. Literally. See, that's our problem.
Really great.
For a while, we kept stockpiling like all the empty beers that we had tried.
My wife threw them away.
Oh, yeah.
Well, my wife threw all my stuff away.
I mean, would get to a point where you're just like, what are we doing? Are we running a recycling center here? Or can I do something with these? Because are you going to look longingly back on the time you drank that I don't know, that the blueberry sour and go.
Yeah, maybe that's alcoholism talking. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be great. It was like, when did you realize you're an alcoholic? Oh, I had saved 3,000 bottles of empty beer. Oh,
well, I was talking to Joel McHale, and he made me look at all the stuff.
Yeah, he made me come to terms with it.
Yeah.
I was saving them in hopes a sip was left.
Oh, I'm sure that would be a very good sip after it sat there and open. Just the bottom of it.
It's helped to get through the quarantine stuff. So
I have to make sure I'm not off schedule here.
What is your schedule, by the way?
I have another. Let's see. I have an interview at 11:30.
Okay.
And so and I should, take 5 minutes before that so I can relieve myself.
Yeah.
I'm a 48-year-old man who is constantly peeing. Okay. So anyway.
So want to get into some of your work?
Let's get into some of my work. This is interesting.
Oh,
or we can just talk about beer because that's something else I love.
We actually don't mind.
Yeah, have you had McHale? Which is out of Denmark.
We've actually had McHale on the show. I had to go to New Orleans. I had to go to Louisiana to buy it though because they bring it in over there
because they won't
gotta go pick
mail it to Texas.
No, we got to go pick them up.
He's
gotten some from Florida as well, so it's cool to get some here and there.
Why don't you guys break these laws down? Why don't you do something about it?
I thought about it. I think about it all the time.
You should find out what the laws are, get into it, call a couple of breweries and go, hey, we're trying to knock this law down.
I wonder if Dan Crenshaw. No, I don't know what he's doing.
I just want to know, if you knock this law down, you're like, well, we knocked it down, and all Texas beer stopped. Yeah, we ruined the whole market because they began.
There's really no excuse for them to be doing this shit. It really is. Yeah.
No, it just sounds like it's old.
So I do have a bunch of random questions I want to throw at you before we.
Let's hear them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick fire. Is Joe McHale a cornhole champion?
I am. Yes, definitely. For that one camp out, yes, I won. My friend Molly and I were teammates, and we won in a big way.
Awesome. That's awesome.
My kids and I love the cornhole, and I feel, and I like now because of watching ESPN is now the greatest. I love it so much because they're just showing reruns of cornhole championships and axe throwing. And so I thought they need to combine those definitely. And then yesterday, no joke, and it didn't seem like that much of a joke, but it was slippery stair competition on ESPN where they have basically a flight of stairs that's ice and kids, like young kids in full, helmets and stuff. They're trying to get up the stairs, and whichever team gets up first wins. And I was just like, we live in a glorious time.
Really worried for a second there. But
yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Get up the stairs.
Get up the stairs.
If you were to cast Ken Jeong in the Tiger King movie, would you cast him as Kelsey Saffery or John Finley?
Well, probably Saf, but Ken would have to lose 150 pounds. At least, just to get a believable shape.
So Dan Hammond would be good, I'd say, campaign manager. I think he kind of looks like that guy a bit.
Dan Hammond?
Hammond?
Yeah. Is that what his name? Yeah.
Who's Dan Hammond?
No.
Rick and Morty guy?
Dan Harmon?
Harmon?
Whew. Yeah, Dan Harmon, guys.
You guys
got that research down.
Apologies.
Dan Hammond?
Now, we're gonna get
now, what about Donald Glonner? Does Donald Glonner? How is he?
Oh God,
that was good, Dan. Dan Hammond, creator of Rick and Marty.
Yeah, the shark swan shots.
I can't wait to tell him this.
Oh shit! Okay, thanks, guys.
Moving on. Favorite Nickelback song.
Another well-researched question. All right, go ahead, Dan Hammond.
Favorite Nickelback song.
Oh, all of them. No, no, I don't have one.
Okay. Oh.
I can tell you. No, all right. No, I'm not gonna.
Okay.
So I was gonna say, where'd you draw inspiration for Johnny Cage in the Mortal Kombat movie?
I drew. I drew inspiration for Johnny Cage for the Mortal Kombat movie by studying Johnny Cage from the Mortal Kombat video game.
Nice. Good stuff.
And Nickelback songs. Boy, yeah, no, that's what I did. I mean, I knew the game, and I knew what his his kind of MO was, and I just decided, as they directed me, I was like, I'll just make him the most confident, clueless, arrogant, but somewhat like curious about a few things guy. And then, I trained for 2 years in martial arts, so I could do it in the sound booth as I was recording the voice.
Oh, of course. So
I don't know. It's the most violent animated movie in this year. So check it out.
How was
rated R.
voice acting versus just acting? Period.
Less
did
makeup.
You prefer that, or
I got to wear shorts. And no, do I prefer it? I like it all. I mean, I love acting, so I'll do it anyway. And I think voiceover acting is really fun. And you're in voiceover acting, you're not really, you're not in control. You do what you do as much as you can in the booth, and they do all the real work and put together an animated movie, and your voice is just there. So it was really fun. And when I finally saw what the movie looked like, I was even more excited because it was wonderfully stylized, and they didn't pull any punches for the violence, which I was worried that they would turn it into a kids movie or something PG-13. But the whole time they were like, no, this is going to be rated R, and it's going to be and I think that's because the game is pretty intense. So I like that version of it. I did not want it to be like the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Exactly. Man, I mean, I really love the Mortal Kombat series. I've played it since I was a kid, so
yeah,
I appreciate the work that you did. So
thank you. I played it so much as a kid, the stand-up game, and then the latest version is beautiful.
Yeah,
I'm 11. Terrible at it. I can't, the number of moves, I mean, it's just like when I play Madden with my 12-year-old, and like he knows so many more things than me that it's hard for me to even keep up.
With Johnny Cage, just spam the crotch punch over and over. That's all.
Yes, that's pretty great. But I don't know if you've seen the movie, but it's real. I'm very proud of it, and I think people can dismiss. I was like, it's a video game animated. I don't think so. I was like, check it out. Check out the first 5 minutes.
In the video game crowd, like the video game community, it's actually like huge right now.
Oh, great!
It's going real big. So
that makes me very happy. And I kept swearing, and I think they kept a number of them in because I was like, what do you care? They're like people they're beheaded in the thing. And so they left a couple of F-bombs, and so I was very happy. So, what a weird thing to be happy about.
Live action Ninja Mime movie. Would you reprise the role of Johnny Cage?
Yeah, but I don't think that I'll be on that list.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm a little too old, and they're going to go with a movie star for that. I don't think they're going to go with the host of Card Sharks. But maybe if they run out of money or they lose a bet, I'm happy to do it.
Well, they already have your number, so
they got my number. Yeah, and I can Zoom with anybody.
Yeah, we do appreciate it, man. Yeah. Thank you for taking time out of your day, for sure.
You were you were a part of the one of the best TV series I've ever seen in my life.
The Great Indoors.
Milo Murphy's Law. And,
I did work with Candice Bergen one time. She was amazing. But no, I haven't not. Why didn't they ask me to be on the reboot of Murphy's Law? What the hell?
What's up? Wait, they're rebooting it? What happened?
They already did, and then it went away.
Oh, well, there you go.
It was made by Dan Hammond.
Oh, were you able to?
I'll never financially recover.
Did you work with Weird Al at all during?
Recover from this.
Did you work with Weird Al at all during Milo Murphy's Law?
No, I have met him, and he's way too nice to be as famous and cool and powerful talented. So so I've met him a couple of times, and his wife is lovely. No, but we were never in the same room.
Yeah, I listened to him and Paula Abdul for the first 13 years of my life.
Look at you.
And that's it.
You are a very interesting man.
That's
What's your favorite Paula Abdul song?
Opposites Attract.
Man, that just rolled right off your tongue.
I couldn't think of the other one. It was like,
what did you think of DJ Scat Cat?
He's the best.
Well, of course, good answer.
You should play him in the reboot.
I really should play an animated cat in the reboot of a music video. Okay,
it's me based. It should be a movie based solely on the cat. You'd voice him.
I would do that. I would do that in a heartbeat.
People are
screaming for that. They want that. They definitely are asking for that.
So a while back, it was last year you were also in the Fortnite Pro-Am, right?
Yeah, I did that the last 2 years in a row. Poorly.
2 years. Okay. Cool.
I was really bad at it. My kids, they're very good at it. And I would play with them, and my older kid was like, Dad, look, I'm not that great at Fortnite, but you are terrible. And so it was like this weird coach. Like he was like, but he was using tough love on me. He'd be like, then they were giving me, I was like, so when I get in the game, and then they saw the list of players, and they were just like, you don't have a chance. I was like, so what should I do? And I was like, they're like, hide, just hide as long as you can. But you could see that it was like, I don't know how to describe it, like some private in a war who did not have enough. Like in World War I, they were just throwing bodies, and they like people who had 2 weeks of training, just like, get in there, and they were like, oh boy, this guy, he's so dead. He doesn't know what he's dead. All right, next guy. So I killed a person. I killed someone in the first one, and they were so relieved. They were like, hey, you didn't embarrass us. And
yeah,
like,
it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, and so it was really fun. I love the game. Is so popular, it's crazy. And now, of course, video games never been more popular in the history of the planet.
So I've got two more things I just want to get out real quick.
11:17. I should leave in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay.
All right,
so you once you're a beer guy, so you know that certain styles.
I'm on the beer podcast.
So you know that certain styles age poorly, right?
Yeah, lagers.
Well, there's a story that says that you once traded a 2-year-old IPA for beers at a brewery. You've traded a 2-year-old Pliny the Elder to this beer. It was amongst the picture that was trending in the craft beer community. And they're like, yeah, he's a cool guy. We traded some beers from my brewery, but he sent me a 2-year-old Pliny.
What?
I don't even remember this. When was this?
Well, he didn't say when. He just said you did it.
What brewery?
He didn't say that either. So maybe he's just talking random.
Yeah, you've got your facts all down, officer.
Well, no, I'm asking you for the facts.
Oh, I don't remember this.
Okay.
So I've given a lot of beer away. And so it sounds like he was upset. I would love to know who it was. But yeah, I don't remember it really. Let's do this again, and you talk to the guy, and we'll get him on. We'll have him on together, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
What I'll do is I find I'm posting this in that form, and he can see that.
Tell him, and then go like, this guy doesn't even remember me. What a jerk! I agree.
He sent me a 2-year-old beer, and then
he sent me a 2-year-old beer. I have found with Pliny though. I know that Pliny's like drink it fast, drink it fresh. Hops die or whatever, and I have had older ones, and they're pretty damn good.
Well, you know, IPAs
because I can't mail it to you.
Yeah, true. Yeah, hey, if you label it as essential oils, you can.
Oh yeah,
it is essential oil.
That's the loop.
What were you going to say about IPAs?
Oh, IPAs originally were made
right
that way to lose, because it was to survive the shipment to India, right?
Yeah,
so.
That's right. Thank God for England's occupation of India. It born a great beer. Sorry, India. No. That's exactly right, because when they put it in the barrels, it was unfinished, and it finished around the Horn of Africa.
Yeah.
And when it got there, they had something brand new and way more alcoholic.
Yeah. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, though, is like with current IPAs, they don't really hit them that high for the aging process to really just you don't lose the hops back then as you do now.
Makes sense.
'Cause I think IPAs have to be like 18% to age or something crazy like that.
really?
Yeah, 18
Oh,
or
shit.
Yeah. When does it become barley wine? When does it technically stop being beer?
I think it's a whole different style in general.
That's all. Yeah, I just remember going like having my first barley wine. It was 14%, and I was like, "This is."
Jeez.
Yeah. Barley wines are big beer, man.
So besides the number 1 or number 2 IPA in the world, are there any IPAs that you personally would recommend?
No, I think Three's Brewery in Brooklyn is outstanding. I think Three Magnets. I like the word three in my beers. Three Magnet Brewery in Olympia, Washington, and then Cloudburst, and of course Georgetown Brewing, which I've already mentioned up in Seattle. You can clearly tell I enjoy Seattle beers. I drink a lot when I'm there. Let's see. I don't know what happened. No, I don't like that beer. Well, I have already said McHale. I love. I'm trying to think of what's in my fridge right now. Oh, I love that Sexual Chocolate by Foothills Brewery. That stuff is great. Foothills is really good brewing. I still love Dogfish Head. The 60-minute IPA is wonderfly balanced, and you can get that almost anywhere now. Thank God.
Yeah, it's pretty localized here too.
But whenever I do stand up, I always include in my rider that you have to get a local 6-pack of beer and an IPA, and I've learned about a lot of great beer that way.
Man, that's interesting.
That's awesome.
That's fucking cool. Yeah.
So I have one more actual question before we trail off. What is the initiation process like for joining the Illuminati?
Oh, it's very hard. First of all, you have to make 30 or 40 tiny incisions on your forearms, and then you take what a Cornichon pickle is, the little French pickles.
Oh yeah.
You got to rub those all over those incisions. Then you put together a pretty traditional resume with a cover letter, and where it says education, you say the School of Life, and so that's part of it. And then after that, then you mail that off to the Illuminati is located, as you probably know, in North Dakota, where they have a lot of it's easy for businesses to be there.
Well, there is a portal. There's a portal in Georgia at the Georgia Grindstone. So
that's bullshit. And then after that, you have to get footage of you hunting a human being.
Well, that's legit.
That is really
facts.
The last part is, obviously the most involved.
Most involving, definitely.
Yeah.
I just, I had a feeling ever since I seen you and, Ken Jeong became friends. And I know Ken Jeong, a part of the Hangover series, is definitely Illuminati. And so,
definitely. Yeah, we're all, yes, thank God. When we became friends, you mean 11 years ago when we met? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Well, I noticed you started growing your hair out, too, from Spider-Man 2. And
yes.
Since then.
I have not touched it since 2005. It is slow going.
And I felt like that was a big Illuminati decision on their part.
Yeah, it sucks because I have no choice. Like what I'm wearing, what I'm sitting in, whatever this thing is behind me, I have no choice. Man, there's a guy right here ready to kill me inside of here.
It's just gonna pop out anytime.
Stay in there, Bill. But guys, I have to go.
I understand.
This was too much fun. As
God.
It was too much fun.
I think that as well. So,
but why don't you tell me before I leave what top 2 beers right now? I don't know if I can get them in California, but what is the thing? If it somehow magically could be transported to my home, what should I get?
Jesus. Okay, Jabberwocky by Lone Pipe Brewing Company is one of the best IPAs that we've had on the show.
Okay.
Yeah, if you like IPAs, you'll like Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Jabberwocky's a solid one, and then we drink a lot of seasonal beer, so I got to think of
Lone
something that
Pine.
can be
I was
Did
going
you
to
say
say
Lone
easily
Pine?
not
Lone
Dragon's
Pipe?
Milk.
Wait, hold on.
Lone Pint.
Lone Pint. Okay. Pint Jabberwocky beer. Okay. And what's the other one?
And then you
I was
give one.
I was going to say the Dragon's Milk.
Dragon's Milk. Okay, who makes that?
That's New Holland.
New Holland, yeah.
Dragon's Milk. That's a solid. It's a solid stout.
That's a great name too.
That's a pretty popular one too. Dragon's Milk. That was really
Got a good
popular.
rating.
I know last year. And they have a lot of variants.
You got that bourbon barrel aged stout, 17% alcohol. Dear
Yeah,
Lord.
buddy.
Okay, that's gonna be a oneer.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, guys. I deeply love you both. I have 3.5 minutes before I get on this thing, and let me just say that ever since we found out we were first cousins, it just makes me feel like I'm from Texas as well. And as you can see, I look like I am. We have the
You're an
same-
honorary Texan.
I mean, we all three look related in some way.
Yeah. All
We're
right,
all-
go.
you just got to go outside and shoot your gun now. And
Definitely,
you'll be christened.
We
I have
definitely
a
share the
howitzer.
similar
I blow
skin
off a howitzer
complexions.
every morning in my house.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you so
Have
much,
one-
Joe.
Man, Joel,
Thanks,
thank you
guys.
for
Good to
stopping by.
talk to you. I wish it could go longer. I really would, but let's do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
Yeah.
really fun. I'll come back on. Let's talk about
Thanks,
beer.
man.
Sweet.
Appreciate it.
God bless you guys. That's Opinions and Beer, everybody. Saying,
Opinions and beer.
Hey, that's
night.
the second Mortal Kombat Illumini to
Yeah,
do that.
there you go.
Actually kills.
Holy crap! We just interviewed Joe McHale.
Holy crap. We just interviewed Joe McHale.
That's right. For those that don't know, that I'm Adam.
I'm Eamon.
We are Opinions and Beer. We said it a million times. You just listened to our interview with Joe McHale, and now we're going to get into the beer that will be representative of this episode.
I think some would even refer to it as the beer of the day.
It is. Today's beer of the day is Carole Did It by Buxton Brewing Company. This is a raspberry mango wheat at 5.3% ABV with 15
I
IBUs.
fucking love it. The name of this beer is Carole Did It.
Yes.
So if you don't know what that is in reference to, people, obviously the hugely popular Netflix documentary, what is it, Tiger King and I?
Tiger King. No.
Just
Tiger King and I is the episode that Joe McHale.
Oh, okay. So Tiger King, the Tiger King episode, probably the first or second one goes into depth about some of the history of Carole Baskin and throws a little bit of shade and tries to bring a little bit of light to the situation surrounding her her late husband's disappearance. There's not even confirmation that he's dead. He's just missing. And he's been missing
in
for-
Cuba, right? I don't know what they said.
Well, they said that
I can't remember
that
what
there
it
was a plane filled up and that it looked like it took off and then crashed or some shit on the way to Cuba. But I feel like most everyone does whenever we say that's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. People don't. No, that doesn't happen. That shit like that. I mean, okay, that's a misstatement. It does happen, but probably not in this circumstance. So, yeah, motherfucking.
Carole did it.
Carole did it.
I said Carole did it now. And look, maybe raspberry represents the blood of her husband. Mango represents.
No, it fucking represents the weird wine that her and her new husband drink while they're
Is that what it is?
on leashes together.
Is that mango? Mango represents the color of the lion, the tiger. God damn it!
Liger.
The liger.
So yeah, there was actually a weird stigma. Did you notice that whenever like watching the series that there's like a weird stigma against ligers? Like people are saying that it's like inhumane to breed ligers.
Oh, really?
Like the old shit that like Napoleon Dynamite, talked about ligers. They're a cross between a lion and a tiger.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, liger's my favorite.
It's my favorite in the world.
Ligers. So, I don't know. I don't know why I brought that up.
You're a big Napoleon Dynamite fan.
Yeah. Well,
Have you been catching up on older shows during this mess?
I'm not gonna lie. Most of my time has been spent training for gaming.
Okay, training.
Yeah.
Training
Yes.
for gaming.
But I did get to I've been watching a lot of like YouTube videos on like garden growing and stuff like that, because people like during the quarantine and stuff like that, from here on out, I know that like the food industry is essential, but like if you're worried about what's going on
Texas
with your
opens
this Thursday,
Yeah.
is what they're saying.
Well,
I saw an article this morning.
takes place in
Supposedly,
2020.
the restaurants are already open. Yeah, it may be weird listening to this podcast episode a little bit later, but if you didn't know, the coronavirus was pretty rampant for the past 2 or 3 months. It's
During the time of this recording.
yes, and they say that it's starting to slow down, but well, if you're listening to this at a later date, you already know.
Yeah, you already
know. So.
And knowing's half the battle. G.I. Joe! Throwback. Man, I wanted to do so much throwbacks with Joe McHale. I wanted to ask him.
Oh, there's so much that we could have talked about. But
I wanted to ask him if he, because he's done game shows in the past, like he mentioned, Card Sharks and whatnot, and some other
he's
stuff.
done a lot of.
I wanted to ask him if they ever rebooted Russian Roulette or Friend or Foe. And I'm sure he doesn't know which either of them are. But
I don't know.
That would have been the fun
I've
for
heard
him.
of Friend or Foe, though.
So Russian Roulette is where like you have to answer questions. If you get enough questions right, you have like this thing under you that locks, and then a red circle goes around the people that answered less questions, and it will stop and basically drop them to their deaths.
To their deaths.
I assume it's their deaths.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure
You don't
they'll
see them; they just disappear in a hole.
Things have broken down into anarchy right now. Why not have some Roman Colosseum style humor? We just got to get inmates, right?
and then Friend or Foe, you answer questions with a teammate, and then it's like a game of rock paper scissors of whether or not you split the money, no one splits the money, or someone takes the money. The hosts were always fun to watch. I think Joe McHale would bring a charm to those shows if they ever brought it back.
So he's definitely Captain America-esque type guy.
Yeah, he's in Stargirl as Starman.
As Starman, which is it looks like the DC Universe version of Captain America as far as the character's design goes. Like it's almost like spot on imagery of the old Captain America outfit. So,
1 second, let me grab somebody real quick.
Adam's grabbing someone real quick. Oh my God, who's that?
Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge, and I'm thinking maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. You know who this is?
Is that a masked singer?
Well, it's me. It's your co-host. Gee, but yes, I was a masked singer. Everybody throwing those references.
We're trying to throw in as many things as we can
that we missed out. All the
Here's
references.
Johnny.
Here's Johnny. But anyways, you want to try this beer?
Yeah. So wait, before we get into it, what's your personal opinion on Carole? Do you think that she did it, or
man? And I wanted to tell him, hey Joel, if you're watching this, rewatching this, and you're seeing this part,
he's definitely rewatching this right now.
If you made it past your particular section, the interview, and you're here with us,
Carl Brodsky.
Whenever you film, and I know you're going to be the creator of it, you have to be. Whenever you film a Tiger King movie, please consider casting Jan Broberg as Carole Baskins. I really think
she would.
I think she'd do it.
Kind of look like a.
And I think she would do.
No, she's a nominated fucking award-winning artist. So
yeah, she's an actor, and I think it'd be. I think the irony of having someone from last year's
Carole did it.
From last year's biggest documentary.
Yeah, like Netflix style. Yeah,
that'd be crazy. So I'm gonna try this beer. He just took a sip.
I did. It's actually very like the wheat is coming through good, but I didn't realize that you said this was a wheat ale or whatever. And
raspberry mango.
It's definitely a nice like.
I like the coloration.
The problem with wheat beers is the wheat is almost always like too overpowering, like way too overpowering.
And it's filling, huh? It's so filling.
Yeah, super, super duper filling.
It always tastes like bread. It's like wheat beers always taste like wheat. Like super wheaty. The flavor from the wheat really takes away the other flavors. I was trying to think of a good symbiote.
I liked how you built that up. It was like
symbiote.
Power up.
Okay. Yep. It was symbiotic. It's very symbiotic in the beer, and it strips some of the flavors that will come from the raspberry or mango. Out of raspberry and mango, which one are you pulling from this beer?
I mean, I'm going to be honest. I do taste a little. In the aftertaste, I'm tasting some of the raspberry. I'm not well. I got the mango too. It's got both raspberry and mango, so that's hard to do, especially in a wheat beer because there's also a whole lot of wheat in it. So
I like how the coloration is it's like a slight pinkish color. It's like an orange pinkish color. That of mango. I mean, it's hard. Well, okay. If I look at it like this, it doesn't look nearly as pink. That's what I'm looking at through these shades.
I was about to say, you got glasses on. For me, it's orange, but it does have a tint of like that, like pink purple, like raspberry, like
the raspberry color.
Mm-hmm. So it makes you wonder how much they funneled in of the raspberry and mango to this. So it's rated 15 IBUs. Again, I'm having some problems today, my guy. 15 IBUs.
Yeah, so it's very low hops, and when you don't taste any hops in this one. It's a very smooth, clean beer finish taste.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's there's no hops on the tongue at all. I don't even know why even.
Yeah, no, like for real. Like usually these types of beers have a super strong aftertaste and a super strong taste, just period. And because of that, like it makes me like not a huge fan of wheat beers. And I'm not gonna lie, this isn't really changing my opinion on
yeah,
that.
No.
But like it isn't bad in comparison to a lot of the other beers. So
yeah, you know what, Buxton makes a good beer. You know, they make really good beer, but they're a newer brewery. And so they have some beer styles they haven't really quite perfected yet, and that's nothing on them. But this particular beer, I may give maybe a 5 out of 10.
See, and that's the thing.
Bad.
Like, okay, personal preference, like it's not high up there. It's probably, for me, like it's similar, like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
I'll say 4.5 on the taste scale that I enjoy. But like overall, I'm gonna rank it probably a 6.5 because the process in brewing this and getting that flavor to come through in a wheat beer is not an easy thing to do. Like it really isn't. So,
I do have. Let's go ahead and I have one can of this left. I want to go ahead and do a try of this. This is their slow. It released the same time as Carole did it.
And this is what you said, Buxton Brewery?
Yeah, this is Buxton again in Nederland, Texas. Buxton Brewing. This is a slow drip stout, coffee stout. Now the title of this episode will be Carole Did It, but we will review this beer. This slow drip coffee stout is 9% in alcohol by volume with 44 IBUs. This was brewed with with coffee from a local coffee source in Nederland, Texas. So it's brewed on top.
So Walmart?
Nah. Nederland, they have like a coffee shop or something.
Do they?
I think Nederland has a coffee shop. It's kind of like a lot of these coffee shops. I don't know how they're doing it, but they get a lot of their own. They're like making their own grounds. Very odd. Like Reverend Coffee in town, they have their own grounds they sell.
Reverend Coffee in town. Where's that?
It's like next to Ace Hardware.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they make their own. I don't know where they get it. They have their own coffee though.
Well, they grow it.
Do they grow it?
They grow.
Where?
And then they make it.
Where are they growing this coffee? How do you grow
coffee? Watch some
coffee
YouTube
beans?
videos. Yeah.
You have to grow coffee beans. You have to grow a lot of coffee beans, huh? A farm of it? Maybe somewhere.
I don't know. Maybe we should talk to the coffee people,
We should
the local
interview-
coffee people, and ask about. Because I mean, like, I know it's not beer, but
Yeah.
I mean, we can't deny that a good portion of the craft community right now inject coffee into
Yeah,
their
they do.
beers anyway. So, I mean, if you're trying to like come up with your own home brew or craft brew, why not try and do, locally bought or locally farmed coffee as well? It sounds to me pretty cool.
So let's try this here. It's coffee
Okay.
stout.
All right. And you said this is a
9% slow drip coffee stout. 44 IBUs.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, so it's probably one of the coffeeiest coffee stouts
Yes.
I've ever had. Like, and that's not an exaggeration. Like
It tastes like black coffee.
exactly.
It
Like
tastes like
most
black
most
coffee.
of these beers are coffee are like stouts or porters with a strong hint of like old coffee. But this straight up tastes just like coffee. Like,
Yeah, man. This one for me, and I'm a sucker for these coffee beers, and obviously me and Eamon. I don't know if Eamon shares the same sentiment as I do
well, I love coffee.
of coffee, but I don't know if he shares the same sentiment with coffee beers though.
So I'd actually kind of like to promote a weird thing that I found at the store there.
Okay.
Because because of quarantine, I haven't been able to get out to like the beer stores as much. So we've been kind of getting a little bit more liquor. All of Texas, it's kind of crazy. Supposedly this is like the most liquor that's ever been sold in Texas is going on right now. So one of the ones I'd like to show is a new limited edition Jameson. It's actually a cold brew coffee.
Really?
Jameson with it's like and as soon as I tasted it, I was like, dude, this tastes like a fucking craft beer because it tastes like a bourbon barrel aged stout because it's got oak flavors and it's got dark chocolate and the cold brew coffee. So it's like, I mean, that's like 3/4 of the beers that we've tried, of the stouts anyways, that we've tried. So that's a good one to look into. That tastes more like whiskey than coffee in comparison to this pretty awesome beer.
Yeah, this one's a solid one for me. Obviously, one of my favorite coffee beers of all time is Rev Coffee Stout, which is a coffee stout brewed on Rev Coffee. I wish I knew the name of the coffee company that they are using to brew the coffee on, so I could give them a shout out.
Yeah,
But
I know.
But this is really good. The IBU is at 44. What's weird is that the coffee is standing out a little more than
Beer. Like I don't taste
Than
beer,
beer.
at all. It tastes like they put.
What's
coffee
weird
in
is
it.
though the
coffee in a
IBUs,
can, but-
the IBUs are 44 where Rev wasn't there. I think their IBUs were like 200 or something.
Something
200.
insane, right?
It's like some crazy. The bitterness scale on their beer was way crazier than this 44.
And this, it's
And
not.
this is-
It's. I think that's an accurate
But
representation.
you know what?
It's not that bitter.
I think
it's-
maybe that one's using actual hops plus coffee. This one seems like it might be relying solely on the coffee for the bitter profile.
Yeah. So to give a taste comparison for those of you at home that can't taste this, most of the coffee beers that we try taste like good, strong cold brews and/or like just super, super deep, strong, dark coffee blends, right? Whereas this, I mean, drinking this beer straight, it tastes like a I don't know. I don't want to shit on it too much. I want to say like just like a normal like Maxwell House coffee or something.
Like Waffle House.
Yeah, like just normal ass coffee that you'd get from your local.
But it's 9%, and that's actually higher than a lot of the other coffee beers. The other coffee beer is like 7, so at least it's higher than other coffee stouts, sitting there at 9% in the area, not in general, but in the area, higher than the average coffee stout. I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10 because that's my bias. That's my bias to coffee stouts.
So I'm not gonna lie, I don't necessarily like. I am kind of a coffee. What is it?
Connoisseur.
Connoisseur. Yes, I'm a coffee connoisseur. Or should I say a cafe connoisseur?
Connoissaurus.
That's a throwback joke to where I fucked up earlier. So a coffee connoisseur, and I would say that this isn't. I do prefer those kind of shittier, darker, stronger, bold coffees compared to the Waffle House coffee. Maybe I need to put some creamer and sugar in here, and then it'll be great. It'll be great. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a solid 6.
Solid 6.
But that's
Good
personal preference.
Personal
like
preference.
obviously, if I were to say the process, like I said, it would be like probably 9 on like process, because like being able to get coffee to come through in the flavor this strong is really impressive. It really is. So, and this is just one of our local brewers. Like craft beer is coming a long way. I kind of really fast.
I kind of wish I would have grabbed a beer that from this particular company, because I used to live in Nederland, I think, back in the day. I wish I would have grabbed a beer that would have spoken to you a little bit more. They have solid IPAs and whatnot. This is just what I had in the fridge.
Mid County Madness
Just
is probably one of the ones. Bleed purple and white or gold and black is the two main ones they're going to be having to work on if they want to get into my soul.
Okay. But solid beers, you heard our different perspectives on these beers. You heard our interview with Joe McHale. It was a phenomenal interview for what we were able to do, right?
Yeah, it was really good. We did have time constraints, but I mean, even with the time constraints, we covered a lot of shit.
I know. I mean, and we had a list, and I was like, sometimes I probably did force. I kind of certain things were laid out to where they were supposed to play out in like a bit format, where like it was supposed to be this and then this, and due to time constraints.
Well, I mean, also we've got to talk about how much of like observational humor like Joel McHale does. Like that's his thing. Is like you can bring up a topic to that guy, and he's gonna talk about what he wants to talk about. Like there's no stopping him, and he proved it. It was a really good interview. I enjoyed it, and I hope he enjoyed it as well. So
yes, it was a super good interview.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I think that's just my opinion.
Just your opinion. What do you agree? Well, guess what? This time's a little different because we truly don't give a.
We are a million and billion.